Mark, another Mad Movie Mark movie review. Continuing my trek through the Rotten Tomatoes landscape, I'm going to watch all 206 movies that have 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to give each a score from 1 to 10, and then I'm going to rank them from best to worst. I am on 1935, Captain Blood. This is a swashbuckler. It has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, like all the movies will, and it has an 89% audience rating, which fits into the the range that we've seen so far. They've been anywhere from 89 to 95. This movie stars Eroy Flynn as Peter Blood. It stars Olivia de Holland as Annabella, Basil Rathbone as Levisar, and Lionel Archwell as Colonel Bishop. So before I go into the review, I just want to say a couple quick things. This is my first movie I've ever seen with Eroy Flynn, and one thing that I've learned about him is that Tumblr loves this guy. Anytime I look up movie posters or movies, there's always a ton of views, a ton of material with this guy. After watching this movie, I could tell he's a really good actor. I could tell what the appeal is. I'll also watch Adventures of Robin Hood as well. That also has 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And then Olivia de Holland, who's in this movie as Annabella, she lived to be 104 years old. She lived until 2020. I've looked at all the actors from all the other movies that I've done, even the child actors, and they all passed away well before her. So I thought it was a cool piece of trivia that she basically outlived everyone up until that point from every movie that I've watched until now. So let me get on with the kind of the review of the movie, what the movie is about. Eroy Flynn, who plays Peter Blood, he is a physician. He used to be sort of a fighter. He used to be, in the military of some sort. But he decided he wanted to retire from that and be a physician. He wanted to save lives instead of taking lives. Then a rebellion happens, and he is called to be a doctor in the rebellion. So, he's doing his physician stuff. And then King James sends some men to him and tells him that he has committed treason because he is being a doctor for the other side of the rebellion. He goes to a trial. He pleads his case, and he says that he should not be treated as a treasonous because he's a physician and his job is to save lives. It doesn't matter which side of the war they're on, which side of the rebellion they're on. He is supposed to save lives. That's what he wants to do, and that's what he's doing. I think he makes a really good case for himself. This is a point where his acting abilities really comes out. The speech he makes, everything he does here is fantastic. It doesn't matter, though, because he is still convicted and he is sentenced to death. The next scene, sort of the people who are in charge of putting him to death, they're talking and they're thinking, maybe we've put a little too many people to death lately. We should probably stop that. It's not looking good on us. Maybe we should just put these people into slavery instead. So Eroy Flynn, instead of being sentenced to death, he is put into slavery. While in slavery, he is almost bought by Colonel Bishop. Colonel Bishop goes up to him, kind of inspects his mouth, inspects his arms, tries to see, if he's prime specimen to work in his plantation. He decides that, yes, he would like to purchase Captain Blood. However, Captain Blood, is a bit sarcastic to him. He's a bit cantankerous. He doesn't want to be a slave, and he pretty much lets that be known. So Colonel Bishop says, you know what, never mind, I don't want this guy, he's not worth it. You can put him in the mines, have someone else buy him. Annabella, who is Colonel Bishop's daughter, sees this, and I think she takes a liking to him. She doesn't want him to be in the mines, so she ends up bidding on him, and she wins him, and he becomes her slave. Now, he makes it pretty well known he doesn't want to be her slave, but it is what it is, and that's what it is. Later on in the movie, he decides that he is going to, he's going to bust out of here. He's not going to be a slave anymore. He gathers every other able-bodied slave that he can find, and he tells them that there's a ship waiting for them out in the harbor. At night, they're going to sneak away, and they're going to get on the ship, and they are going to be free. The night they're planning to do this, the other side of the rebellion, they start attacking. This is the perfect chance for them to get away while the two sides are fighting with each other. So they go to their ship, and they notice that the ship has been destroyed. So what they do instead, they go to the other rebellion's ship, they kill everyone on it, and they take it as their own. So now they have their own ship, and they're out in the water, and the other side of the rebellion who they were fighting against, they ended up winning and they took the town. And now they're coming back to their boats on, they're coming back to their big boats on smaller boats. So Captain Blood decides that, we're going to fire our cannons at them, destroy them, and then they will not be able to come and take their boats back. So they end up destroying the fleet that's coming at them. They save the town. Their side ends up winning this battle. So the representative of the king comes over to the boat because he wants to see who was able to get away from the city and save the town. And he realizes that it is the slaves. So he says, wow, thank you guys. You did such a great job. You saved our town. You got our gold back. I'm going to put in a good word for you, and maybe they'll reduce your slave sentence. And then, of course, all the pirates laugh at him because they have a boat. They have the upper hand here. There's no reason for them to just, sail away. Why would they go back to being a slave? So they throw him over the side of the boat, and they decide they're going to be pirates. They have their own pirate creed where they evenly distribute the gold amongst each other, that they don't rape or pillage any women who come onto the boat or come onto the ship. Basically, what they say is if you lose an arm, you get like 500 of their gold or their money. If you lose like a leg, you get like 400. If you lose your left arm, you get like 300. There's different denominations. So they decide that they're going to, run this pirate ship fairly. They end up becoming one of the biggest and most ruthless, famous pirate ships in the world, in all of the Caribbean. So while they're doing their pirate stuff, Annabella has met Lord Willoughby, who has learned of the infamous Captain Blood and wishes to meet him. She kind of puts it off that she has no idea who Captain Blood is. Captain Blood ends up meeting the sort of the captain of the other pirate ship that's also famously known in the Caribbean. There's two big pirate ships. One is Captain Blood's and the other is Lavasseur's captain or boat. They're in this pirate town and they meet and they decide that they're going to band together and, do their pirate things together. Captain Blood is drunk at this moment and he right away knows that this is a bad idea. He said that this is probably like one of the worst decisions he has ever made because he knows that Levasseur is not going to abide by the rules and by the creeds that he put together. And then later on in the movie, Annabella and Willoughby are caught by Levasseur. Levasseur kind of wants to use Annabella for, his own whatever he wants to do with her is what he's going to do with her. Captain Blood finds them and he reminds them that due to their agreement that they do not take women and that they do not hurt women in any way. Levasseur says that was a dumb creed, that's not something he was ever going to abide by. And then they get in a sword fight and Captain Blood ends up killing him and Captain Blood ends up getting Annabella and Willoughby as his slaves. This is kind of a funny moment because it's like tables have turned. She is a reluctant slave to him. She's not too happy about it. They are going back to the port to drop them off. He says, okay, fine. You won't be my slave. I'll take you back to the port. His men say this is a terrible idea. If we go back to the port, we're just like turning ourselves in as pirates, basically. We can't go back to where we came from. And he says, look, this is what we have to do. They don't want to be slaves. This is what we're going to do. So they end up going back towards the port and they find two ships fighting their former lands. And he's all like, oh, well, okay, I'll let them fight it out and then I'll go there. And Willoughby says, no, you have to protect your own country. And Captain Blood says, why would I protect a country that doesn't want me? They threw me out. They want to hang me. And Willoughby says, no, that was the old regime. You've been gone for so long. There's a new king in town now. And he actually wants you to fight for him. He wants you to be part of his navy. And Captain Blood is excited. He tells all his men, hey, there's a new king. They want us to be part of their navy. So they end up fighting these other two ships. And one of the most epic ship battles you'll ever see, especially for that time. He ends up winning. When he gets back on shore, Willoughby now makes him like the new governor. And Colonel Bishop comes back into town. And he's still looking for Captain Blood because he still wants, revenge on Captain Blood. And Willoughby says, well, you're going to have to talk to the new governor if you want revenge on Captain Blood. So the colonel goes in there and he says, I want to talk to you about Captain Blood. And then Captain Blood turns around and he's the new governor. He said, "Oh, you're doing a great job, Governor." And that's basically the end of the movie. I thought this movie was really good. The action scenes are fantastic. I don't know how they did these action scenes in 1935, but I mean, today you're used to CGI, and I'm used to just everything being CGI, but clearly they didn't have that in 1935. And especially the last battle scene on the ships was just amazing. It shows both ships on fire. Both ships are like collapsing around them. They're still firing at each other. They're still like at war with each other. All these pirates are going to the other one's boats, and they're fighting with swords. It's one of the best sword fights I've seen, mass sword fights I've seen in a movie. And I think it puts the Pirates of the Caribbean, it's a lot better than what they did with CGI. I know that's going to make some people angry, but I think that this is better. I prefer this kind of movie where they're not relying on that. They're using set pieces and they're using their own ingenuity to make these to make these action scenes happen. Now, I know today they don't do that because those type of things actually cost more than CGI does. You wouldn't think that it would, but it does. But I love these kind of action scenes. The acting in this movie is also very well done. Errol Flynn is fantastic. Olivia de Havilland is great also. Errol Flynn, he is very good at giving speeches. He's very good at doing like staring at someone and just saying something to them. His acting skills are fantastic. I can't wait till I can watch The Adventures of Robin Hood. I honestly don't know why I've never heard of him before and why he's not considered up there with some of the great actors. I mean, he's not a household name like you would think, like a Humphrey Bogart or Jimmy Stewart or something like that. And I'm not sure why, because he does seem to have that acting chops. Like he could be the next big leading male, and I don't know why I haven't heard of him before. And I'm actually really happy that I know who he is and that I've watched this movie, because now I was able to see one of the better actors of that era. Like I said, Olivia de Havilland does a very good job of playing off of him. She is just as good as an actress as he is an actor. They pretend like they hate each other, and it's very convincing. And then later on in the movie, they actually had feelings for each other, and that's also very convincing. But the back and forth they do when they're pretending to hate each other is very convincing. I will say that for this movie, some of the stuff in the middle dragged a little bit for me. I know I've said that for a few of these movies, but I think this movie's like, what, 2.5 hours? It probably could have been closer to 2 hours. A lot of the stuff. I mean, there's a lot of the back and forth where he's a slave and now she's a slave. Getting to those scenes and explaining those scenes, I felt like it was a little bit dragged out. But all in all, I thought this was a great movie. It had great action. It has great acting. I thought the script was really well done too. Besides Pirates of the Caribbean, I haven't seen a lot of like pirate movies in my life. I don't think I can count The Princess Bride as like a pirate movie, even though he's a Dread Pirate Roberts, because there's no real like pirating in that movie. So I haven't seen a lot of pirate movies in my time. And if this is what I can expect from these type of movies, then I definitely want to see more of these movies. I never thought until I watched this movie that they could do action and they could do set pieces like they do here. And it's way ahead of its time. And I don't know why it didn't win any Oscars for best special effects or, best lighting, whatever the Oscars were back then. I don't know why it didn't win any. It didn't win any Oscars at all. And I need to see what actually won. I know that just like in the previous movie I did, this also lost to, I think, Mutiny on the Bounty or the Caine Mutiny, one of those two. So this was in the same year as the previous movie I did. So I'm blown away by how this movie didn't win anything. Let me see. I gave this movie, I believe, an 8. I gave this movie an 8.5, which is a very good. It's one of the higher echelon of the scores that I've given so far, and I look forward to seeing The Adventures of Robin Hood. Thank you. I hope you have a great day.